everybody. Welcome to Kendell Lenice Live. That's right. This is my YouTube channel. Again, I like to celebrate us in a way that nobody celebrates us. It's important for me to do that, especially for our community. I had Black men, a men's forum. I had On the Minds of Women. I've talked about therapy in our community. I've talked about autism. I mean, there are so many powerful interviews, networking. So you got to subscribe right now so you can see all of this content. I'm continuously uploading content for your pleasure and enjoyment. I'm all about education, elevation, and entertainment. So saying all that, you might be wondering why I am dressed like this. I got my salt and pepper shirt on. I don't know if you can see. I got my Jersey girl right here, my Jersey girl jacket, my little headband, put a little Madonna or somebody in there. It's all about the mothers today. That's right. It is Mommies and Mimosas, 80s style. And I wanted to bring the 80s style to this show to just put a little spice and a little fun in this, because when we talk about mothers, sometimes it's sentimental, us being mothers and the ones who raised us. So I just wanted to inject a little fun here. So I'm excited. As you can see, I have amazing mothers with me, and I'm just going to go down the line and allow them to introduce themselves, and then we're going to get started with this show. Y'all ready? To the newest mom. I'm gonna get the newest mom we're talking about. Yep, exactly. Kimberly McNeil. She is the newest mom of the bunch. And I want to welcome you to Moms, Kendell Lenice Live. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I want you to just talk about, we're going to talk about a whole lot. But before that, I want you to introduce yourself. I want you to talk about your child, the age, and all of that good stuff.
Okay, well, I'm Kim, everybody. My little one will be 2 in July. I feel like she would be 23 in July instead of 2. But she's an amazing little person. It's been a little tricky at times because I'm not an only child. I'm kind of being by myself, and I had my daughter older, so I've had 39 years and probably 11 months by myself. And then she came along and was like, oh, okay, this is different. So it's been an adjustment for both of us. But it's been a good adjustment. So I can promise you I'm not doing it again, but that's my boo. That's my boo. So
yeah, well, welcome to motherhood, my dear.
Thank you.
It has its it has its ups and downs, you know,
that it does.
The detours and all of that, but it's so rewarding. I promise you, it'll get better. No, it'll get different. It may get better. It'll get different, but all in all, it's rewarding. It's very rewarding. All right, next we have Amelia Clark. Tell me about your kids. Tell me how many you have and the ages.
Okay. I have 3 boys. Terrell is 9, Tony is 7, and Thomas is 4. And just, it's not ever a dull moment. Short story is so funny. It's so funny. For a week, I've been smelling something in my room, and I'm like, what is this smell? Well, one of my boys, I got down on my floor last night, and I just started smelling like a dog all through my room, because I'm like, something is in my room. Somebody didn't put a chocolate milk container inside my umbrella, upside down. I don't know who did it, but oh my goodness. Boys, I wouldn't trade it any other way. I love them. But I'm like you, I'm not having any more.
And Amelia, y'all, she's out of Kansas City, Kansas. So I appreciate you joining. I know your time difference is slightly different. Welcome. All right, Tishera, let's talk about your children. How many do you have and how old are they?
Okay. I'm a mother of 4 biological children. My oldest is 32. My other son, he'll be 30. I have a daughter that'll be 26, and my baby girl is 24. And 4 different personalities, 4 different everything. Everything they're different, but they're the same because I see me in all of them. You know, when they're talking, and because now I'm past that stage of go do this, go do that, go to school. I'm past this stage. I'm an empty nester, so when I'm on the phone with them, with FaceTime, and that's the beauty of that part of motherhood, because they just talking to you and you're like, what? That's what you're doing? I'm like, yeah. They're like, so I had my kids when I was very young, so I literally grew up with my kids. Well, they grew up with me. So my style of parenting is probably completely different than everybody else's. But I can say that I was able to break a cycle because none of my biological children had children. So to me, that's like, yes, they don't. So when they do, I look forward to being able to be a good grandma.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, welcome to Mommies and Mimosas. I see your earrings, girl. I see you.
Trying to get together.
And next we have Shedana. Let's talk about your children. How old are they and how many do you have?
I have 3 children. I have a son that's 32. He'll be 33 this July. He's still finding his way in life, but I am very proud of him and love him dearly. And I know that he has to go through whatever he needs to go through, because his mess becomes his ministry. So he's walking out his testimony, and I'm proud of him. I have a daughter who's 30. She'll be 31 in August, and she's actually no children. Let me back up. My son, my oldest son, it'll be 33. He has 2 children. And then my daughter, who's 30, be 31, she has no children. She's actually getting her master's and working patient first right there in Baltimore, Maryland, off of Route 40, I believe it is, because I live in Jersey now. Like, I've been here a long time. I can't remember the streets, but she's at patient first. She's getting her master's. She's doing a phenomenal job. And then I have my youngest is Emmanuel. Did I give their names? So my oldest is Derek. My daughter is Kirsten. And then my youngest, Emmanuel. He's 21. He'll be 22 the 31st of this month. That's my athlete. He was just coming out of University of Maine. He was supposed to be an NFL player, picked for NFL, but because of a knee injury, it kept him out of the draft. But he still have NFL teams that are interested in him. They're just waiting when all of this corona stuff passes for him to be able to come out, fly out, and see their doctors before they sign him on. So I'm blessed. And then I do have an older daughter, Michelle. Michelle is probably about 34, and she has 3 children. I'm grandma, and she is my daughter as well, and I love her, and she's an awesome, awesome young lady.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I noticed that you and Tishera both said, because we're going to talk about that too when we talk about motherhood, even mothering children that you did not biologically have. I think that's so important too. And I think a lot of us on here are mothers to a lot of children that we didn't even give birth to, just out of love, you know, or maybe previous relationships. Precious, let's talk about your baby girl. Her name
Hello, everyone. Well, my baby girl / I don't know what else you want to call her, but anyway, she's 12, going on 20 something. So I love her to pieces. And she's right now going through, you know, preteen, teenagerhood, teenagehood. So there's some challenges because I've never had a teenager. I've never raised one before. So we're learning together. And it's quarantine, and we're stuck and confined in the same area all day. So it's very interesting, but we're learning a lot about each other, and we're being sensitive to each other's needs. So I'm giving her the opportunity that I didn't have as a child to be considered, feelings being considered. I do allow negotiation. Some parents don't, but I do. I'm very honest with my child, and I encourage her to be very honest with me. Building that bond, because especially during this age where children are figuring themselves out, from what I've read, that sometimes they can get distant, and then things can happen that you're not aware of as a parent that you should be aware of. So it's like I said, it's challenging, but I'm loving it. I'm learning. We're going, and so I love being a mom. I love being her mother, and all I do is for my daughter. Every move I make, every step I take, I always considering her. And
Wow.
So as far as having more children, whatever God has in plan for me is up to him. If not, I'm perfectly fine.
Yeah. Well, you are newlywed, so that might be a little possible. That might be a possibility.
We shall
All right,
see.
so I remember when Precious was pregnant. I can't believe it's been 12 years. For those of you that don't know, you guys know my song, It's You, that I wrote. If you don't know it, you better go to Apple Music or where all digital music is sold and played. I did my love letter to God. It's a song called It's You. It was written by me, but it was sung by her. That's
yeah.
Wow, I have it.
I've heard it.
I bought it. I bought it a while ago. I bought it like it was like 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
2 years ago.
That's flew by.
Yep. Shedana, you remember it was premiered at my women's conference. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Queen P right there.
Precious, how are you?
Good.
So if you want to know what we're talking about, make sure you stream that. Do us a favor.
Thank you.
And that's on, my Safety Net talk show, The Safety Net with Kendell Lenice. That's the intro song that comes on in the beginning. So if you've seen that show, whether it's the virtual style, because that's what we're doing now, or my sit down talk show, that's the song that's playing in the intro. So definitely check that out. All right, Blanca, all your children over there. Let's talk about your children in the ages. And her husband, let me just say, her husband was Terrence, who was on the Minds of Men forum.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's her husband. Yeah. So if you haven't seen that, that'll give you an opportunity to go and check that out. So if you want to be nosy and see who her husband is, watch that video.
Ladies, I'm Blanca. I have 4 daughters, 13, 12, 8, and 8 months. So it's very, very busy here during this quarantine. I'm a teen mom as well. I had my daughter at 17. So we are all basically, my first daughter, should I say, at 17. So we're all growing together too. It can definitely be challenging. And it's like raising little me's. And I'm just kind of like, I wasn't a bad girl, but it's just trying to be understanding and everything else that comes with raising preteens. It's a challenge. It really is. It really is a challenge. And then started over to 18-month-old. It's definitely, I didn't think I would have another one, but here she is. I love her to death. And I'm just thankful that they all are very helpful. Because I think that I probably wouldn't have survived if they weren't that helpful during this.
Yeah, well, welcome.
That's really it.
I'm excited to
Thank you.
this conversation. Y'all know I love being a mother. People can't tell the difference between a mother and a daughter. They think that they're sisters. I must say myself, sometimes I get that. But of course, it's Mother's Day, and normally I conduct the interviews, but I got to talk about my kids. Everybody that knows me knows how I ride for my children. My oldest daughter just turned 27 just a couple of days ago, and my youngest daughter turned 21 in January. So that's Aaliyah is the oldest, and Amara is the youngest. And I think all of you on here have seen my kids, other than probably Amelia. But you'll get to know I rides for my daughters.
Yeah.
And I always say, and that's why I wanted to make it fun, because I know with certain things and certain subjects, I'm a person who feels, and I'm not ashamed to feel my emotions and my feelings and vulnerability, all that. I'm too old to even care about what anybody thinks about me. That's just, I'm gonna put that out there. But just in case you see that little glory tear come on down. But I always say I have done a lot of amazing things in my life. But the biggest achievement I have done is raise 2 beautiful girls who are passionate, kind, considerate, who are woke about what's going on in this world, in our community, and just nice girls. Because a lot of people see a lot of different things with their children, especially girls. And, you know, I'm pleased. They're in here with me now. And that's my biggest joy and my biggest accomplishment. People always say, well, over this, over that, you've done this. Absolutely. When people say I have nice girls, they love my girls are kind, they're funny, they're considerate, whatever adjective they want to use for them, that right there, that's the biggest compliment you could ever give me. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get to all the mothers, but throughout this time, I want to read some quotes that some people had to say about mothers. This is Gail Sukiyami, and she says, mothers and their children are in a category of their own. There's no bond so strong in the entire world. No love so instantaneously and forgiving.
Yeah.
Did you hear what I said? And it's so true, because instantaneously you love your children.
Yes.
Yeah.
And no matter what your children do, you forgive. You forgive. And I think that that's so powerful. So throughout, I want to read quotes. But anybody want to just touch on that one right there?
Yes, I'll touch.
Most
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say most definitely, you know, as I stated before, I have my oldest, my first child, my son. You know, we as parents and especially as mothers, our expectations for our children are always going to be high, because even through our mistakes were still made out of love, you know. It wasn't that we were trying to fail and try to make mistakes. Some of them are mistakes that we may have seen our own parents do and said, I'll never do that. And we ended up doing it anyway, or, you know, or just through parenting, through our own hurts and pains in life, made mistakes like that. But our expectations for our children are always high. But, you know, I'm going to tell you, even when I started, you know, because all 3 of my children went to college for free. They all, not one child, not 2, all 3 of my children had a free ride. To God be the glory. I only had to pay for books. And it took my oldest, the first one, who dropped out of college. And I'm like, are you serious? You know, and it just seemed like from that point on, I started seeing everything other than what I felt like I was trying to plant and instill in him the best way I could as a mother. But God had to tell me, he said, and God talks to you right where you are. And he had to say to me, Shedana, this ain't your life.
Right.
And everybody wants to be this proud mother with their or parents or mother, you know, with your chest poked out. Yeah, all my kids went to college, they graduated, they got their doctorate. God said, guess what? That's not his walk of life. And so the Lord had to tell me, he's walking out his ministry. He needs to know God, not your God who I was for you. He needs to know the God I am for him.
Come on now.
And so through that, it taught me, even through his mistakes, I have forgiven him. Some have been personal, you know, that I felt like as a mother hurt me. But it doesn't mean I forgive him, because it's a thing I do, spot the spirit. Not go, that ain't my son, you know, but deliverance is coming. God is working, and he's walking out his ministry, because he has to go to places that he needs to go to reach these young men and women for today, because God is so soon to come. And how can he minister to them if he hasn't gone down that road? So, you know, I thank God for him. I love him. I forgive him. And I'm proud of him, because I said, guess what, boy? You ain't graduate from college, but you graduating from God's college, because it ain't even about that. It's about you accomplishing your purpose here on life. And when I look at it like that, I'm proud of him.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that. And I know you and your son, without divulging any details, you guys are going through it right now. And I think that's why you're compelled to talk about that relationship, although you have 3 children. And I appreciate you doing that. And hopefully he sees that. And, you know, it's not always easy when you have another person, just because it's your child and you're having you have a relationship and a parent-mother relationship. Because when your children get grown, I totally agree with you. And I always say the biggest gift I could have ever given my children is the power to use their own voice and to voice their opinions and their own views. I never wanted my children to do what I do and be who I am. The gift that I gave them is to be their own person in any kind of way. And that's the type of parent I am, because I want you to get the gift of your own view and your own opinion and be your own person. And my children are individually their own people, period. I see pieces of me in both of them, but that's the biggest thing that you can give. So I'm glad that you said that, Shedana, because you can't make your child be who you want them to be.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, this is their life and they have to live that life. Now, I'm not talking about the ones that got 2-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 12-year-olds. But Precious, you wanted to say something.
I'm sorry. This topic right here, I'm excited to talk about it. Ms. Shedana, I just want to say that I'm proud of you, because it takes maturity as well to get to that point as a parent, to allow your adult children to live, because you've done the work. You've done all that you can, and you can't blame yourself for any choices that they make, no matter how bad, you know what I mean? And me as a parent, me growing up and having experienced that from my own parents, I'm raising my daughter differently. And I tell her as much as I can, I'm going to love you regardless. And I'm always going to forgive you, even when I don't agree with your choices. You know what I mean? It's my job to love you, period. Because at the end of the day, I can't live your life for you. No, I can just give you these tokens and, you know, suggestions and things of that nature, but I cannot live your life for you. That's for you.
That's right. And that's so important to all the parents out there who are raising adult children. Once you've done your job, you've done your job. And I see so many parents that are so regretful and so hurt because their child might have walked a path that they didn't lay out for them. But at the end of the day, you don't have anything to do with that. And unfortunately, and it's hard to say, but that begins to be none of your business. That's God's business. Once they get to a certain age and you've raised them and you've taught them and you poured the values into them, that's all you can do. You can't walk through life holding their hand every step of the way. And I think a lot of parents try to do that because they want to pull and maneuver and, you know, their lives and which way they should go, and you shouldn't make this mistake. Sometimes they got to make those mistakes to go through what they need to go through so they can eventually be better parents, or just better yet, better human beings. Because that's what we're raising. We're raising human beings who later go on to live their own lives.
Right.
And do the things that they do. So, Tishera, you have, and then I want to ask him a question. Tishera, you have adult children.
Yes.
What has motherhood taught you? Because you started out at a very early age. And throughout this process, what has motherhood taught you?
Well, you know, ladies, I want to share with y'all that I wasn't your average teenager. I had my first, I was pregnant at 11 and I had my son at 12. Then I had another one at 14. So coming from the way that most of you probably parent, my parenting style was completely different, because I was always the parent that you come to me first. Let me know who's smoking weed. Let me know who's sexually active. I never wanted no one to ever come and tell me anything about my children. So what it's taught me is how sometimes some people put too much pressure on their children. You know, when you're young and you're raising kids, like my kids, we laugh to this day, but I had something that I said from the time they were 16. And they were 16 years old, their birthday would come, I was like, 2 more years and I'm done, you know. So they would say, huh? So I would count their birthday down from the time they were 16 until they was 18. So if they had 10 months before they was 18, I was like, I got 10 months and 5 days, and I'm done. 10 months and 5 days. My kids would say, why do you say that? I said, because you need to understand that when you get out here in the real world after 18, there's nothing I personally can do to protect you. So I say all this to you in love, because this is a cruel world. It's a cruel world. No one's going to love you like I love you. You know what I mean? So if I show you this, so when they turn 18, most people that's 18, they be like, I can't wait to get 18. Not none of my kids. They was like, I celebrated their 18th birthday. I was like, yes, I'm free, God. Yes, I am free. You got them, God. You gave them to me. I give them back to you. You know, I was able to parent that kind of a way, which worked for me. And when my kids, we laugh about things like this, because they say, like when my daughter went off to college, and there were things that I've allowed her to do before she went to college. And one was—
But wait a minute. Let me just pause right there. Because statistically, your child wasn't supposed to go to college.
Right.
You do know that.
Yeah. But God,
you were a young mom, so your children weren't supposed to
graduate high school, but they graduated. So they graduated high school. I mean, I got 1 out of 4 that didn't, but he's still smart. Oh, I'll take that.
That's right.
Is because statistically, that's what they want us to be in a class, especially Black women. They say, oh, if you were young, your kids want to have kids when they're young. If you didn't get an education, they're not going to get an education. And it's false. I'm a living proof of that. I'm living proof that that was just a lie, something to make statistics look good. But when I think about like my kids, and when my daughter went away to college, and I used to allow my kids to drink. Like, you know, they'd be like, Mom, can we get a sip? I'd be like, yep. So I go to the liquor store. They sipped in the house. And when she went to college, she says, oh my God, Mom, I am so glad that you allowed different things to go on as we were growing up, because I get to college and these kids is off the hook. They don't they just wild out. So like I said, my style may not work for your thought, because I always was honest about everything with my kids. I was very honest. And sometimes you don't want to be that honest, but I was raw honest. And I'm grateful that my children were able to make, you know, they're making progress with their life. I'm proud of each and every one of them. The ones that been in trouble, the ones that stay out of trouble. You know, you always get one that'll try you, and the rest might do the better end of it. But even with the one that tried me, which was my oldest son, God knows that he's creating him a different person now. And I still celebrate him. I say, listen, you can do it. I'm gonna use Kendell's quote. It's never too late to remix your life. That's what I told him. He's on the remix. He's on the B side. He's on the B side right now. So, you know, I just want to say that about my kids.
No, I appreciate that. That's real, and that's what the show is about. Anybody that's watched, it's about being transparent and being authentic with who you are, and celebrating all of that, because there's celebration in all of that. And that's why I have the mothers on here that I have, because everybody has a different mothering experience. Some people have multiple children, some people only have one, some people have a new baby, some people have grown children, some people have, you know, middle range. So that was important for me to get this whole scope of motherhood. And that being said, Kim, you're a new mom for the very first time. Your son is 2 years old, and you're doing this thing by yourself.
Yeah.
So tell me what that's like, and tell me so far, what has your child taught you about you?
Well, first, what she's taught me is that I didn't realize how selfish I was until I had a child. To be honest, I'm used to, or was used to, doing things my way, doing what I wanted to do when I wanted to do. And granted, it's not like I did a lot of socializing or partying, but I was just able to come and go as I wanted. So having someone here who's depending on me all the time, especially when I want to sleep, I'm like, really? Like, she was good in the hospital, but I promise you, she saved all her like dramatics for when we got out the hospital. Because I promise you, as soon as we got home, like, cried and cried and cried. I was like, oh my goodness, little girl, like for real? So I remember we came home when she was born July 2nd. We got home July 4th. And I just wanted to take a shower and just sit down. And she just started crying until like the top of her lungs. I'm like, what is wrong with her? My mom was here with me. So she's crying. I couldn't figure out why she was crying. Before I knew it, I was crying in my pizza. Like, I was over it. I was like, you know what? Let's just go back to GBMC and just leave her there. Like, let's just take her back. Like, because this is too much. I mean, it's a lot. And I can honestly say I suffered with postpartum depression. So that takes another toll on you, especially, and I'm going to be very, very honest. I honestly didn't think postpartum depression existed.
Right.
I really thought it was a white woman's made up disease. I'm going to be very honest. And then when it hit me, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is really real. I was like, I'm really going through it right now. My mom was here and it didn't help that my mom didn't understand what I was going through. So that made it worse on top of that. So it was many days I was like, you know what, I'm saying in my head, like, you know what, maybe I should take you back to the Eastern Shore and me and my daughter can just figure this out ourselves, because it was too much, because she, again, she didn't understand it. And on the flip side of that, my mom and father are both pastors. So when you have people who are pastors who are in the church and you're thinking they're supposed to understand and they don't, that didn't help anything for me.
Yeah.
Right.
So I saw them in a different light. Or my mom, I should say, because she was here with me. So it was different, but doing it by yourself, and I'm not the first woman that's done it by herself. I'm not going to be the last woman to do it by themselves, but it is very hard. I know it's hard in a two-parent household, but I feel like it's a little bit harder when it's just one parent. And for me, I'm learning it as I go. Me and my daughter work out together. You know, she's almost 2, so she can't really tell me how she's really feeling completely. You know, she can cry and it's still really how she expresses herself. And if you're not feeling it that day, I don't want to hear that. Like, you know, some days I'm like, I'd be so glad when you get older so you can talk to me and tell me what's going on. Or I'd be glad when you get older so I can take you to your grandparents and you can sit down there and I can get a break, like that type of thing. I don't have those days a lot, but, you know, working from home, now that we're quarantined and she's here, she's not with me all day because I have somebody to watch her for me, but it's like you can't separate home from work because it's all one now. So it's like to come home and she wants to be on 10, you know, and your boss is stressing you out in your home that used to be your place of peace. It's like, come on, like, not today. Like, come on, like, not today. So it's challenging. It is. But then it's those moments she'll look at me and I'm like, really? And she'll just make me smile. Most random thing. And it's like, you know, she's starting speaking sentences now. So it's really cute. But stage of repeating almost everything that you say. So I have to be mindful to not use my adult words. It gets on my nerves, you know. But it's you know, you have your good days and you have your bad days, basically.
Yeah.
You have your good days and bad days.
Thank you. I appreciate that because it gets really real. Parenting is not always easy. People make it look easy and appear to be easy, but there are women who are really struggling through this and really just trying to find their footing. As you often hear, there's no handbook. You just, you know, do what your instincts tell you to do, and it's all for the love of your children. Whether you are going through postpartum, that is real. You know, a lot of people struggle when they don't even want to see their kids, pick up their kids, look at their kids, be around kids. This is for real, you know. So parenting is not always easy. It's always worth it in the end, but sometimes it is a struggle. So Kim, I thank you for sharing that sincerely. Sincerely. Motherhood. I say that there's not a book on motherhood. You can't learn how to be a mother per se. But if you said that one person taught you and gave you some tools you needed to be a mother, who would that person be?
My mother. It would be my mother. I'm the only child. So even Tishera, right? Tishera, is that her?
Yeah.
Sorry if I mess up y'all names. But even when I was listening to her, my mother was that one who said that if you're going to smoke, I'd rather you smoke here instead of being out in the street and get in trouble. And I still didn't listen, but at the same time, she kept that open communication where I could be honest with her. My mama knew when I was having sex. And even now, after having a stroke, my mama's here for me. And if I could just be that type of mother who is so strong and consistent, and even when she didn't understand what was going on with me mentally, she didn't give up on me. And Shedana, just keep trusting the Lord, because even when I was listening to you, all I could think about was my mama, because she just prayed for me. She did. I wasn't raised up in the church, but my mama ended up getting saved. And I remember she said, she used to go, the ladies at church was fasting and praying for me. I was like, whatever. Folks, more than you care about me. I remember saying that to my mama. And I'm going to tell you, I heard the Holy Spirit when I was out there in the streets. I could hear my mama. And I realized thinking it was my mama. The Holy Spirit was talking to me. And I could hear my mama telling me I can come home. And I called my mama 2:00 in the morning one day. And she said, Amelia, I'm going to put the key under the mat.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
That was in 1999.
Yes.
I didn't even know the Lord was drawing me closer to Him. I didn't even know, because I didn't grow up in church. So I'm saying all that to encourage you, because trusting His voice is so important, and believing, because who would have ever known that I wanted to be in the streets all the time. And here I am now at 39, and I love the Lord. I only made it through my struggle because of the Lord. And I'm only here because my mama chose to love me and to forgive me.
That's right.
Even during this process, because what happened to my brain, I had a brain bleed. Everybody couldn't understand that sometimes I would get real angry or real sad. I didn't want to go to therapy. My mom was like, come on, man, you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go. And I would scream and holler sometimes. But she still was there. Still was there. That is a mother. Like she's forgiving. She loving. When I'm listening to all y'all, she's forgiving and loving. Going through this divorce, helping me with my boys. It is hard being a single parent. I've been married for 15 years, having these boys. They told me I would never have kids, but here it is. I got 3 boys. The Lord opened up my womb. And then I never thought I was going to get married to get a divorce and be a single parent mom. So it's super hard. Hats off to every single parent.
Absolutely.
I didn't know I was spoiled. I didn't know how good I had it.
Right.
It wasn't my choice to get a divorce, but I had to make a decision to be better for me. Because in the process, I'm learning who I am. Yes. I'm loving who I am. Yes. I'm taking care of me. Yes. And in Isaiah 43:19 says, behold, I am doing a new thing. Yes.
Come on now.
Preach that. So I'm thankful that in spite of where I've been, all the decisions that I made. Yes. The Lord gave me a lady named Costella, a short little petite lady. She's very controlling, y'all. She called me this morning. She said, yo, boys, I don't know about us spend the night, Mom. Million. And I was like, well, Mama, they're not, you don't have just one. You have 2 over there. My oldest son is here with me. But my 2 youngest ones, they want to fight, jump, hop, skip, all that. And she only had 1 daughter. I said, boys are totally different, Mama. Just be patient with them. Like, I'm going to start whooping them. I said, well, if you got a whooper, you grandma, you need a whooping. Right.
But Amelia, you are touching Shedana right here, and I'm happy about that. Amelia, she was somebody that I interviewed for the safety net, and she often says that I'm a blessing to her, but I'm looking at her blessing Shedana, and I can see Shedana's face. And that's really what it's about at the end of the day, having that support system. You guys know I'm all for sisterhood. but mothers need to have that support system too, to know that they're not alone. They're not struggling with being a single parent by themselves. They're not struggling with postpartum depression by themselves. They have an outlet, and the outlet really should be other women. Even if you can't, like Amelia, go to your parent, you should be able to go to some other woman to say, you know what? These kids are driving me crazy. I don't know how I feel about being a mother right now. I just got divorced. I never thought I would be a single mom. I never thought I would have a baby and become a single mom. I never thought. And some people never think that they're alone. They think that they're alone. They don't realize that other women are going through the same things. Yeah. Although this is the biggest job that mothers will have, raising children, this is also one of the most difficult for a lot of mothers. They make it look easy, but sometimes it's not as easy as it looks. So Amelia, thank you. And she's been through, been through a lot. Like I said, her story is powerful. So if you want to check that out, not just because it's on my page, but it's because it's her ministry. Yes. Because if you would have saw how she looked, I saw those pictures, I was floored. How she looked, what she went through. She had a stroke at 38 years old. At 38, at the same time she was going through a divorce. How about that? And still had to be a mother. People don't realize you still have to be a mother. You don't get to stop. Even if kids go, there's no sick time, there's no employee day, there's no appreciation day, all of these appreciation weeks and days, there's no time off at all. You still, no matter if you don't feel good, no matter if your heart is aching, no matter if your tooth is aching, no matter if you're unemployed, underemployed, no matter if you had a breakup, you're divorced, no matter if you can't even get out of bed, you still gotta be a mother. And people don't realize it don't stop. So I just want to read another quote.
Can I say something?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm just going to read this quote because it ties into what we're talking about. It's by Sophia Loren. When you are a mother, you are never really alone in your thoughts. A mother always has to think twice, once for herself and once for her child.
That is so true.
It's so true. But Shedana, what did you want to say? And then I want to get to Blanca.
Yes, I just wanted to tell Amelia, I want to thank you so much. I wasn't the type of mother like, oh Lord, my girl, Tishera. Sorry, Tishera. I wasn't that type of mother. Believe it or not, I was brought up in a strict one-parent home. My mother, everybody knew Sheila Hawthorne, and they didn't play with her. And so I was that way. I was very protective of my kids. I was very strong in my belief. Drinking in my home, you ain't drink, you ain't smoke, you ain't curse a word. You let alone play music in my home that did not glorify God. And that's the truth. That's how I raised them, because that's where I was. I was so into God and grateful for how he kept me mentally because of what I was going through. I took my children in with me. And so I was like, if I'm only giving God praise, you all only going to give God praise. When I went to church on Sunday, they went. When I went to church on Wednesday night Bible study, they went. You bring your homework, you come. You're going to learn to give God praise because it's a mean world out there, and you all got to know now. And I'm going to be honest, I don't have any regrets how I raised them. But what Tishera said, did my oldest son, they always say it's got to be one. They said, Mom, because of the way that grip you had, if you want to say, he doesn't say it like that, but basically what he was saying, that grip, when I finally got out here, he went wild. He went buck wild. But I have no regrets for me, how I raised them. No, you're not drinking in front of me. You're not cursing in front of me. You're going to respect me as an adult as well as any other adult you're around. And it doesn't mean because a parent allowed their children to drink or smoke that they didn't, their children didn't respect them. That's not what I'm saying. Right. Mentally, in my mind and how I was raised,
you didn't do that, and I carry that baton in with my children. So it's, you know, it's almost like, is it a wrong way, a right way? Like you said, there's no manual. You can only go by how you were raised.
You definitely, and I'm glad you made that point, because parenting styles are different. Mothering styles are different. And I think it's important that everyone realizes that. What gets me is when another mother judges another mother.
Yes.
That bothers me, because you don't know what they're dealing with. Like Kim said, she didn't even think that postpartum was a thing. You know, what if this mother has a break from the child's father and she's heartbroken? She can't even get out of bed, and the children are making cereal or food or whatever for themselves. Another mother might come along and say, you know what, you need to be a mother. It doesn't matter. No. And I want everybody to stop doing that. I've heard it time and time again. People, you know, judging other mothers. Who does she think she is? Why did she allow her child, like Tishera, to smoke weed? Why did she, you know, make her kids go to church if she didn't want to? Why did she send her kids to her mother's house? That's none of your business. Mother in your own home first, because you can't judge someone else's mothering experience. It's just impossible to do that. And stop looking at everybody as they're better mothers than you. No, because as long as your kids stay alive, that's all that matters. Stay alive. You feed them, you making sure they're safe. You know, that's the, hey, you know, to be honest with you, that means that you're doing something right. But the only thing I do judge in a mother is when the mother is looking nice and the kids look like ragamuffins. I'm sorry, I'm judging you. I'm judging you, because have your kids looking good, then the mother, you looking crazy, then I'm all right with that. So that's the only time I'm judging you, because the mother can look crazy, but them kids better look clean. That's all I'm saying.
Right. I agree.
Because one time in the mall, I saw this lady sharp head to toe. Her kids looked a mess. And I'm like, who is going to celebrate you, woman, if these are your kids looking like this? So yes, that's the only time I'm judging the mother. I'm sorry, because you should put everything into that child. That's just my opinion. Have you all ever seen that?
Straight out of Atlantic City. Straight out of Atlantic City. Straight out of Atlantic City. I mean, the girls.
No,
they be having the whole. I mean, they got the Brazilian going on. Child. Like, yeah.
I'm like, if you can get your hair done, then you can tighten up the braids on those children's hair. The children's hair is all mad. You know, the wife's hair is all, the mother's hair is all sharp. The braids look like they've been in for 6 months. Like, come on. I just wanted, you know, I just wanted to lighten up the mood a bit. To just talk about that different styles of mothering and motherhood. So Blanca, when you think about your beautiful girls and you think about what you're trying to instill in them, what is that one value that you're like, you know what, I don't care if they hear anything else, they need to hear this to take them through to adulthood?
I think being themselves, to me, is like, that's one thing. Like, be yourself. Don't try to follow a crowd or think that you have to look a certain way. Just be yourself, love yourself, and, you know who they are in the process. I'm going all the way back to like the beginning when we were talking about parents trying to make their kids be who they want them to be. And although my children are still young, like my husband, he's kind of like that. He's like, I want them to be this, and I want them to do this when they get older. And he tries to tell them that a lot. And I come in and I have to be like, you know what? No, I want them when they grow up to be who they want to be, not what you want them to be. I want them to know themselves. And I want you to stop telling them what they need to do or should be doing.
That's right.
Because then they're not going to know who they are, because all the time they're going to be like, well, I can't do this because daddy or even mommy said so. You know what I mean? I want them to know. And I feel like, like I said, although they're still young, but I still think it's important to let them know what it is that they want to do. Because, they're young. They could want to be a doctor today and a nurse tomorrow, but still I don't never want to say, this is what you're going to be. And I tell them, whatever it is that you want to be, I'm going to support you. Obviously, I'm not going to support you doing bad things, but whatever it is that you want to do in life, I'm going to support you. I'm going to be there for you. And you can do whatever it is. And you don't have to, wonder who's going to care or in this situation, care what anybody's going to say about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can everybody hear Blanca?
No, Blanca.
Yes.
I can't hear.
You went out. I think you went out at the end.
Can you hear me?
I heard her.
Blanca.
Everybody heard everything you said?
I heard
I think so.
no.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Oh.
Okay. But no, she's absolutely right. You can give your children that gift to really just be who they are. I think that that's so important. I think that's what she was really saying. It's so important. I remember a time when my oldest daughter, and I often talk about this when I speak to crowds and I'm talking to parents. It's so important to allow your children to be who they are and walk in their purpose and their gifts and their strengths. I remember my daughter was in junior high school, my oldest daughter, and she was in the 6th grade, and she came out with this outfit on. Nothing inappropriate. It was just her style. She came out with this outfit on, and I said, "You wearing that to school?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh, you're wearing this with that?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, maybe you should, she's still in the 6th grade. I was like, maybe you should put on this or something like that." And she's like, "No, but I like this." And I said, "You know what? You're absolutely right. You like this. So you go ahead and you wear that." And, from that moment, I allowed her and both of them to be, to be who they really were. It's so important for them to be who they are as people and really try to cultivate who they are and not who you want them to be. And I think a lot of parents try to make their children who they want them to be, opposed to who God really called them to be.
Come on now.
Yeah. And I think
even like growing up, because I, being young and having children young, I was all about name, everything had to be name brand. When whatever my daughters wore had to be name brand. But then I eventually got out of that. Whatever it is that you want to wear that makes you comfortable, I was always, you have to wear little cute shoes with your skirts, dresses. And, once they got older, they're like, we don't want to, we want to be comfortable. We want to wear now the attire, at least from where I'm at, they're like in gym clothes all the time. So I'm like, that makes you comfortable. If hoodies and tights make you comfortable, then so be it. It doesn't matter to me anymore. It's not about that. I mean, as long as you look clean.
Right. That's the thing.
Yeah, you look clean, you ain't going with no holy tights or anything. We're good.
Right. And I said that, and that's so true, because you gotta let them experience themselves and really, be who they want to be and be free to be that without looking behind them like, ooh, my mother might not like this. Ooh, let me do this for my mother, and really do it for themselves and cultivate that. And of course, age appropriate. You can't just allow an 8-year-old to just live and do what they want to do, but you still have to. I know children love choices, so a great way to give a child a choice. I remember when mine wanted to start picking out their own clothes, my daughter said, "Mom, you're the only one that still picks," I think she was in 5th grade, and she was like, "You're the only one that still picks out my clothes. I heard the other kids saying, that they pick out their own clothes." So what you can do to make sure is you give them the options. Like you put 2 outfits out there or 3 outfits that you might want them to wear that match, accordingly, or however you want to do it. And then them choosing that outfit allows them to feel like they did something, and it exercises their independence. LaTonia, you there?
I'm still here.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you about your mothering style. You talked about, and I want to ask the other ladies this too, and then we're going to wind down. This time goes so fast. So LaTonia, so your mothering styles, just quickly, what's the difference? Your children say you treat the boys differently. What do you think they're seeing? And you said mommies and their sons and all of that, but what do you think they're seeing? Doesn't anybody else experience that who have sons and daughters?
I treat them all equally. I love them equally. Like I said, I have to show up differently for them.
Mm-hmm. And I think that that's an important message, because when you have children, even if you don't have boys and girls, even if you have all boys or all girls, each one requires something different from you. Would you all agree who have multiple children?
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
And I think that's an important message to give those who have younger children. Pouring into your children and parenting does not stop.
No,
Just
it doesn't.
because they're grown in age, it does not stop. You will continuously pour into your children. Shedana and Tishera, would you agree?
Yeah.
Yes. It doesn't.
And is it someone that just has is it Kimmy that has a little one?
Yes.
Okay. Embrace it now.
Yeah.
Embrace it, because, and I say that because, for instance, I have the 4 kids, but my youngest, he was born in 2000. He's 20. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe he's 20 already. It's like, where did those years go? Embrace those moments while they're small. Embrace it.
I agree. I always tell people that, cherish them, because 1 year is going to turn into 15 years with the blink of an eye. So I know we're wrapping up. I want to ask a couple more questions, but I wanted to give another quote. And this is funny. This is from Dorothy from the Golden Girls.
Uh-oh.
It's not easy being a mother. If it were easy, fathers would do it.
Oh, yeah.
So so when your children leave your homes, and I want you also to shout out your mothers, but we'll get to that. This time goes so fast. So with that takeaway, so you're a parent, you're not a perfect parent, you're not the right parent, you don't do this that other people do. Forget all of that. What is the biggest and the most valuable thing that you can give your children, and what do you want for them to carry with them for the rest of their lives? Amelia?
Well,
and we're going to go through this kind of quickly.
Love and forgiveness.
I
say that because those are the 2 greatest gifts that God gave us, and those are the 2 greatest things that we can withhold or we can give away. And I want to teach them how to forgive, because those are the things we struggle with life. When people hurt us, is loving and forgiving, and then even forgiving and loving ourselves.
Great. Tishera? That's good.
Love and integrity. Stand on your word. Let your word be your word. Know who you are. It doesn't matter which way anyone say you are. Love who you are and stand on your word. Integrity means a lot I want my children to always stand up for what they know. Stand up for what I raised them to be.
Kim?
To piggyback on Tishera and Miss Blanca too, I think she said it. I really just want my daughter to be the best version of herself that she can be, and to be better. I'm not saying I'm bad, but I'm not a risk taker. I'm not ambitious. All the things that a young would be. So I just want her to just take life, run with it, and just do what she would do. Take risks, but good risk.
That's good. Shedana?
You broke up, but I think listening to what the other ladies stated, I think I got the gist of the question. But mine was to always put God first. Always put God first. And to be a leader and not a follower. And that was one of my, I don't want to hear what everybody else said. I was never one of those moms that said, not my child. I will look at my child and say, it better not been you. No, because if it was you, we're going to handle this. So I was never one that would go, oh, not my child. I would look at my child and say, oh, it better not have been you. Be that leader, not the follower.
Yeah.
And when you put God first, you'll make better decisions.
Yeah. And I was breaking up a little bit. I was breaking up.
No, I didn't think so.
Okay.
On my end. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm just praying in my head that this video turns out right and it's not all broken up, because this is important. Blanca, other than them and being themselves and being their own person, what else would you want your children to take away once they go into their adulthood?
Just being kind, treating people right, not judging, loving one another.
Yeah, and I think that's so important because it's about character. We joke and everything like, oh, make sure that mother does this and make sure that mother does that. But truly, it is so important to fill your children with integrity and love and be God-fearing and be understanding and being kind. Those are the things that matter. How you put on your eyeliner, that's not going to carry you through adulthood. Or it might, depending on if you want to be a makeup artist or you want to doodle. But, and all of those beautiful things that mothers teach their daughters, those are important too. But what's really important is that character of that person that you're raising. Just how are they as a human being? Are they kind? Do they give to others? Are they selfless? Are they practicing self-care? Are they making sure they're good and the people around them are good? Like, what kind of souls do these kids have? That's, to me, as a mother, that's really what counts. Everything else, comes secondary. LaTonia, what about you? And quick answer.
Okay, well, I tell my children to, wherever you go and whatever you do, take the Lord with you. And another thing is, I tell them that never let someone take you out of your character, especially in the workplace. When you're working around people that don't look like us, they're going to try you. And never let them see you sweat. Don't let them take you out of character.
Yeah, and I think that's really, all of you ladies, wow, those were powerful things that you want your kids to take with them. All of you are amazing mothers, at least I think so. So I don't want you to be hard on yourself if you have a bad day, if your kids are not doing what you want them to do and acting how they're acting and living how they're living, whatever that is. You've done a great job thus far. And parenting never ends. My mom, I'll be 50 next year, and my mom still thinks she's my mother, even though I'm like, Mom, I didn't just fall on the planet. You raised me, but still. And I really don't think that ever stops.
It does not.
No.
It's the job that keeps on giving. So quickly, if you've seen my other forums, I like to go with that one word, and then I want you to give one word. So I'm going to start with you, Shedana, because you know how it goes. Motherhood. What word do you want to give?
Protector.
Tishera, motherhood.
Challenging.
Amelia, motherhood.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry.
I'm thinking about the word bit. You don't have to be perfect, so that's the word I'm thinking about.
Okay. Kim.
Effective.
Blanca.
I'm sorry, what was the question? My daughter's
just one word, and you give one word. Motherhood, and then you give one word.
Motherhood. Love.
LaTonia, motherhood.
Rewarding.
Wow. And all of those are so true. All of your adjectives that you describe as a mother, none of them are wrong. It's how you feel and how you're raising your kids and what you're doing. And I don't want anybody to be perfect out there or think if you're just having children, they need to be perfect. Like Shedana said earlier, if they're not going to college, that doesn't mean you didn't do your job as a mom. If they're not wearing what you want, or they turned out how you want, or pick the man or woman that you want, it doesn't mean that you've done something wrong. And I think mothers are often so hard on themselves because of the choices that their children have made. Once you've raised those children and you've poured into them and you continuously pour into them and you've given all you've gotten, then you've done good. And I want you to really celebrate yourselves. So right now we're celebrating these beautiful ladies as moms, but I want you guys to give your moms a shout out because I think they've done amazingly, just amazingly good with you ladies. So I'm going to start with Tishera. Give your mom a shout out.
I shout out Dottie Rex Parker. That's my girl. She was She was something else, but baby, I learned a whole bunch. And I shout out my grandmom, rest in peace, Frances Rex, because she did an amazing job. When my mom and me clashed, my grandmom stepped right in.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we wouldn't be here without our mothers. Kim, you often shout out your mother. And
Rachel Lee out in Salisbury, Maryland. Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
all right, Amelia.
Stella Simple, thank you for sacrificing for me, even when it's hard for you. Happy Mother's Day. I love you.
Yeah.
Oh, Blanca.
Shout out to my mom, Edna. Love you so much, and just thank you for sacrificing life for all your children.
Oh, LaTonia.
Shout out to my mom who's resting in eternity, but Miss Mary Edwards, who was affectionately known as Miss Tweety by everyone. And I'm so glad I paid attention in the kitchen because she taught me how to cook.
Shedana.
Shout out to my mother, Sheila Hawthorne. She's 83 years young, a phenomenal woman of God, still a woman of power, strength, and she is truly everybody's backbone in this family. And I thank God for her. And my late grandmother, Roxy Moore, who was also a backbone in our family.
And it's so, I can go on and on and on and on with this interview, and maybe one day we'll just have to come together as women and talk about motherhood, because to me, Mother's Day is every day. It's
Yes,
every
indeed.
day.
Yes,
It's not just one day, it's every day, because as I said earlier, mothering doesn't stop. Motherhood is a full-time job, 365 days. I want to give a quote by Maya Angelou. I will look after you, and I will look after anybody you say needs to be looked after. Any way you say, I am here, I brought my whole self to you, I am your mother. And that could be anybody that you mother. It doesn't necessarily have to be the ones you give birth to. But of course, I have to shout out my mom, because if my mom saw this and I didn't shout her out, but of course, and it's so funny because when I do things, she's proud, and she's like, well, I'm the one that taught you how to be the woman you are. And she really has. Talk about being selfless. When I talk about giving the shirt off your back, when I talk about doing something for anyone and mothering any and everybody, that is my mom. So I got to give a shout out to Deborah Francisco. That is my mom. And also my grandmothers. One is 88 and one is 100, and they are still alive. So I wouldn't care for those mothers. My mother's mother and my father's mother are still alive. So we are a product, whether we like it or not. We are a product of our mothers. We are a product of our upbringing. You know, right. we take the meat and throw away the bones. And just like we wanted to give it to our children and individuality and being who they are, even if they didn't teach you that, somehow you learned it along the way. And it's just giving you that sense of initiative to do it for yourself. Because even if your mom didn't give you the gifts that you're trying to give your children, it doesn't mean that you don't have those gifts to give your children. Because I think someone said that they wanted to be Kim said it. Kim said she wants her daughter to be better than she is. And I think all of these ladies will agree, and you can ask them for yourself. They want their children to be better than them. I know I do. What about you, Shedana?
Oh, most definitely. And they're there. They're already there.
Yeah, I always tell my kids, I wish I had what you had when I was your age.
Yep.
You know, I wish I did. Blanca, what about you?
I would agree. Same exact thing. I feel like, you know, my kids have the 2-parent household. I didn't do that growing up, so definitely a blessing.
Yeah. Tishera?
I say for all single women, Kimmy, it's okay. Listen, you're going to raise such a beautiful queen. You're going to raise a beautiful queen. I raised my kids for the most part by myself. So their greatness is just a part of my sacrifice. So you got this. You got this.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, thank you. And God's with
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. Yes,
That's
he is.
right.
He is.
That's right. So LaTonia, do you want your children to be better than you?
Oh,
And
definitely. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just asking that question, and then Amelia, what about you?
I definitely do.
Yeah, it's so important. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, ladies. You guys were phenomenal. If you have one thing to say to that mother, like Tishera just poured into Kim, I'll just put it out there on the floor. Who has something on their heart that they want to say to a mother that's really having a hard time with motherhood right now? And it's open to any of you ladies.
Can I say something to Amelia? Amelia,
Yes.
I can see the hurt in your face, but I see the joy of the Lord in your heart.
Yes.
And no matter what it is in your struggle that you're struggling with, you know that God is your joy. Continue to love your boys. Love your boys, and show them that no matter what dad has done, you will be better than that, because I'm going to raise you to be a better way. And I just wanted to pour that into you, because you're in a crossroad and you're fighting against, we don't fight against flesh and blood. We fight against the things that we don't know. So I just been looking at you during the show, and I can see you love the Lord, but you're going through some stuff. So from one sister to another sister, this is a sisterhood. You know what I mean? It's a sisterhood. You raise those boys the best you can. You get them involved with great men that will become a part of your life, that they can have a better upbringing, because it takes a village to reach young Black men, especially in the society that we have now. So I just wanted to say that to you, God got you. God got you. But your sisters got you too. This your sister circle, girl.
That's right.
That's right.
And Amelia, I just want to tell you that, you know, I love all these ladies on here that I am just meeting. It's such an awesome bond, because we're all women pulling together to help each other make it. And I just want to thank you. Believe it or not, your mess became your ministry, and even helping me, who even already know the word of God. But when I heard your testimony, you just inspired me and gave me more hope, even more hope for my son. You know, he'll be 33. I think you said you're a little about older than 30. But right, which made me say, I said, okay, it ain't too late. You know, he's just going on 33. That turn, he still got time to turn around. And one day, I know, honey, I would tell my son, the key is at the door. I can't remember who said that, but the key is under the mat. You come home. I love you. You know, dust wipe like the prodigal son. And I would be that mom to embrace my son. And you just gave me hope. And I thank you, because God used you to bless me. And you take your ministry and you go bless many other women out there.
Wow.
You're an awesome young lady. And Kimberly,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
as well. You be
Thank you.
encouraged, honey. You be encouraged. And it'll be more children. Don't worry about it. It'll be more children. And you'll learn from the first time to be better the second time. And nothing's wrong with you mentally, honey. We've all been through there. You're a phenomenal mom. Your daughter is going to grow up, and she is going to bless your heart.
Thank you, Miss Shedana.
That's
Can
right.
I just leave everyone with something?
Go ahead. Sure. Go ahead.
I just want to say that being a parent or birthing a child is God's gift to us. And childhood and motherhood is amazing. Birth is amazing. And God chose us. So he prepared us for it. He prepared us for it, just like he prepared us to nurse our babies. Some of you may not have chosen to nurse your babies, but God prepared us for that as women. Men can't have babies. He prepared us women. So work with what you got. Work with what you got. Whatever you're going through, it's a test so that you can have your testimony later, but it's going to be okay. I had to tell myself that.
Thank you.
I appreciate you women, you know, speaking to Amelia and Kim and all the ladies here. You know, it's always touching for me when I see other women pouring into other women. I always get emotional because so many people say that women don't do this, you know? So it's so important for me to see this and watch this. And to Kim, I love you, baby sis. I know that, you know, it's rough on you. And there are a lot of single mothers out there. So you saying what you've said, you don't know how many people and how many women you're going to help, husbands included, boyfriends included, with the postpartum conversation that we spoke about. And just being a single mom and trying to do it and trying to wear all the hats. I've had to do it before too.
Yes,
Lord. There's so many women out there that wear multiple hats and have to do it. At the end of the day, and I'm just going to keep it real, a lot of daddies can say, well, I don't have it or I can't. And there are a lot of mothers out there, but I don't have it and I can't, but I'm going to find a way. And they find a way to give what their children need. If you were raised by a single mother or you are a single mother, you can turn out just how you want to turn out and your children can turn out even better. I don't want you to think, and I remember one of the presidents said, the fool, when he said, oh, these are products of single mothers. I took offense to that.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys remember with that campaign, because there are a lot of amazing children who grew up to be amazing adults and who are raising children who will grow up to be amazing adults. So I want to eradicate that myth. A single mom can raise a productive citizen, and not even productive, just that being the thing, but extraordinary people. So Kim and all the single moms out there, just hold on. You can do it. Even when you think you can't do it, push some more because you can do it. So believe that. And I want to give, my hat goes off to you because you're just starting and you'll see. It'll get easier. You'll find your footing. Just be patient and kind to yourself. The same things you want to pour into your children, pour them into yourself.
Right.
And
Blanca, you can do it.
What's her name? Blanca. Blanca. Let me just say this, because when I look at you, you remind me of my daughter. You look so young, and I want to commend you and applaud you for waiting and doing it right. And that doesn't take away from us single mothers, because I've done that. But you too need to be applauded because you listened, you did it right, and because of that, the enemy is going to try to attack you even more so in your marriage at times. So because you represent what us mothers have been trying to put into our children and things like that. So you just be encouraged. Know to go on your knees in prayer. You love on that husband. Know to be able to go into a different room if need be and just pray. But I applaud you. I support you as well.
Yes.
If you ever need somebody to talk to, outside of the family, please get my number from Kendell. But I have nothing but love for you, honey, and I support you. I support the marriage and the bond that you and your husband are doing to raise your children together.
Yes, and I agree with you. And Blanca, you already know how I feel about you. I think that you're an amazing young person. I already adopted Blanca a long time ago. And the way she is, as a mother, I strategically picked the people I wanted on this panel because she's an amazing mom and she's a young mom and she has 4 girls and they're all beautiful, well-behaved, sweet girls. They really are sweet girls. And I think that that's so important to display that even as a young wife and mother. We have gone way over the time. And that's totally fine. I have to try to I got to do something, but that's all right. I want this conversation to continue. But Blanca, did you want to say anything?
I wanted to say something to Kimmy. Hold on, stay strong. I know it is hard. And I did suffer with postpartum depression as well, but you're going to be able to get through it. And cherish her. Me with 4 daughters, I was the same. I'm like, oh, can't wait till they just grow up and be able to do what they do on their own. But I cherish the moment because they really do grow really quickly. They really do.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I love this because this is not how I expected it to go. I really wanted to just be like, boom, boom, boom. Let's talk about mothers. Let's celebrate mothers. Let's post it. But that's what happens when you have this. What happens when you have organic conversation, and you're able to feel someone else's spirit and see what someone else is going through. But I would be remiss not to mention, you know, LaTonia and everybody else who have lost their moms. You know, sometimes, you know, one of my best friends would have done this, but it's so hard for her during this time. She cannot. She doesn't celebrate Mother's Day because it's too painful. And there are a lot of women out there. And I just want to make sure we keep them in prayer and keep them in mind. Okay. Because when we celebrate Mother's Day, somebody is not getting out of bed tomorrow. Right. You know, somebody is not getting out of bed today or the next day or the next day, this whole week of Mother's Day, because it's painful for them because their mothers are no longer here. So I just want everybody, when you're celebrating and, you know, you're ordering your takeout, because you know with quarantine, we ain't going out to Mother's Day and all that. Right. You know, so when you order your takeout or you get that meal cooked for you, just keep those women in mind. You know, Mother's Day is a celebration for a lot of us, but for a lot of people, it brings up a lot of different emotions. All right, Shedana, go ahead. I mean, we way over time. You might as well go. Just say what you go ahead. We just keep it going. You said you wanted to say something.
No.
Oh, I thought you said you wanted to say something. Somebody was saying, was that you, Amelia? Okay, okay.
I was going to say to Kimmy that my last son, I had postpartum depression, and I didn't even know I was going through it. I didn't know it was happening to me because this isn't something that we talk about.
Right.
But I pray. I did a lot of praying, a lot of crying. And I also realized I needed some adult time.
Right.
So you can schedule that in. If you have that type of support, get you some adult time, even if that means when she go to sleep, it's all about what you need for yourself.
Right.
And so, and then I was going to say to everybody, because it is very hard sometimes, you know, living up to the standard of you wanting to be a great mother for them. Not that you want to want them to be perfect, but you want to make sure that you're imparting into them what they need. And so I believe it's Matthew 19:26. It said, with men, it's impossible. With God, all things are possible. Well, men, it's impossible. With God, all things are possible. And the one thing that I have learned is how to really keep the word of God in my heart, that I can move forward, because I didn't think I could be a good mother because I had a stroke. I didn't think my life changed so fast. But what happened to me on the outside has nothing to do with what I can extend to them. That's all I'm going to say.
I thank you. And we're definitely, I have to turn this into two parts, because this has been an amazing conversation. I don't want you to miss any of it. So we're going to bring you, you know, we'll talk offline, ladies, before we finish, or while I'm finishing. I want you to stay with me. I just got to ask you guys a question off air. But I thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this Mother's Day special. Mimosas, or orange juice, and Mommies and mimosa. This is my mom cup. I don't know if you can see this. Someone made that for me. But I thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget to celebrate your mothers. But most of all, if you are a mother, don't forget to celebrate you all. Thank you, ladies, so much. I appreciate you coming on to celebrate Mother's Day.
Absolutely.
All right. God bless. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share below. Let the people know about Kendéll Lenice Live and these amazing interviews. And this is the Mother's Day special. Thank you for watching. God bless.